So yeah, that's my little story. Do not walk into a bookstore twice because you will be tempted to make very, very bad decisions. Great decisions, but that are logistically very, very bad. Hello everybody, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming at you with a book haul. I think the last time I actually did a book haul on my channel was for my birthday, which was in February. So it's been a little while. I did talk about some of the books that I bought this year in my summer TBR when I talked about reading all of the unread books on my shelves. So if you want to go and check that out, I will leave it linked on the screen because I'm not going to talk about these books again in this video. I'm going to be talking about the books that I got when I went to Portugal and Paris, and also about the books that I got this fall. So yeah, as some of you already know, I don't buy a lot of books, but this is still surprising. Like, this is only my second haul of the year and we're in November. Anyway, let's first dive in with the one book that I bought in Portugal. So as you may already know, I went to Portugal in August. I went over there to meet with Mary from Mary Among Stories, who is one of my dearest friends here on BookTube and in my life in general. And it was absolutely wonderful. We had never met in person, so that was really, really great. We got to hang out and run around Lisbon and visit all sorts of different places, included bookstores. So if you want to hear more about our adventures, I actually did a vlog for that, so I will also leave that linked up here in the cards. But the one book that I actually bought in Portugal, I did not buy in Lisbon. I bought into a little town called, and excuse my Portuguese pronunciation, I think you're supposed to pronounce it Óbidos. I'm not too sure, but anyway, it's this very, very cute little town that has a lot of bookshops and a castle, and it was just really, really great. And the one book that I bought over there is The Vindications by Mary Wollstonecraft. For whatever reason, I'm really struggling pronouncing that name, Wollstonecraft. In case you don't know about Mary Wollstonecraft, she is the mother of Mary Shelley, and she is one of the most well-known feminist thinkers of her time. And she actually wrote this, I think it was like a pamphlet or like a letter in answer to the Vindication for the Rights of Man or something. Yes, A Vindication of the Rights of Man, which was a paper that was published, I think, in France, talking about liberty and stuff like that. And so she basically wrote a vindication for the rights of women in response. And it became very, very well known. And a lot of people, when they talk about feminism, they often talk about Mary Wollstonecraft. So yeah, I've never actually read this, and I really, really love this cover. So when I saw it in the bookstore, I decided to grab it. I don't know when I'm going to be reading this, especially since this has both the vindication for the rights of men and also of women, and I'm more interested obviously into the latter. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to read this one, but it's definitely very pretty, and I'm very glad that I got it in Portugal because now it will always remind me of this trip and of how much fun Mary and I had together. And I don't remember like for sure, but I'm pretty sure she also bought this. So now we both have our copy, which is very great. Also could be a good thing for a buddy read. Anyway, moving on. The next two books that I have to talk about are from Paris, specifically from Shakespeare and Company in Paris, because obviously if I was to go in Paris, I needed to go over there. I had never been to Shakespeare & Co. before. I had been to Paris before, but never to that specific bookstore, and I was so excited. And let me tell you, it is just so incredibly beautiful. It is so worth it to go in there, even if it is constantly crowded. But the first book that I got was actually the one that I was after when I walked into the bookstore. I knew I wanted to get the UK edition of this book, and that book is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I just really, really adore this copy. This is actually the collector's edition. The UK version of the book, like the original trade paperback version, looks like this. I will put a picture on the screen, and I had actually grabbed that edition first, and then when I saw this one on the shelves, I mean, come on, I had to get this one. It's so beautiful. It is kind of like a cloth bound cover. It has a quote on the back and all of this foil. It is just absolutely amazing, and I never owned The Song of Achilles. I have read it a few years ago actually. I'm due for a reread, but I had never owned this book because I don't really like the Canadian and US edition of it. I just really prefer the UK edition. So it was definitely my goal going into Shakespeare and Company to get this book. And what I love about, oh, also those end pages, so stunning. Anyway, what I was about to say is what I love about Shakespeare and Company is that they stamp your book. Oh, I actually have my receipt in there. That's funny. My receipt is still in here. Anyway, yeah, they stamp your book with this very cool little stamp with Shakespeare's face on it, which is really, really cool. So yeah, this is a very special edition, not only because it is super pretty and also the 10-year anniversary of this book, but also because I bought it in Paris and it will always remind me of this trip and my first time in Shakespeare and Company, which was amazing. Then the second book that I want to talk about, I actually have a little story regarding it, and that is that I went to Shakespeare and Company twice in the same day. I went the first time when it opened, like right when it opened at 10, I went into the bookstore and I got myself a copy of The Song of Achilles and this second book, but I actually went back at another time because my friend also wanted that copy of The Song of Achilles. So I went there twice, and the first time that I went, because it was at the opening, they didn't have like all of the stock on the shelves, like they needed to replenish the store from the day before. And when I saw this book the first time around, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy this one in this edition because I don't have this book. And that book is Sanditon by Jane Austen, and this is actually like one of those that also include another, like two other stories, Lady Susan and the Watsons, which if I'm not mistaken are not completed. But I did not own this book. Like I have all of my Jane Austen right over there, all of her full-length novels, but I never had this one. It is so pretty. It has like little umbrellas on it. It's so cute. I don't really know the synopsis of this book, and to be honest, I don't really need to know it because it's Jane Austen, so I know that I'm going to enjoy it. But I was very excited to get this one. I also got it stamped, obviously. Oh, did I? I think I only got The Song of Achilles stamped. Oh no, never mind, it's stamped too. So yeah, I got this one, and then when I went back the second time around, they had actually put all of those club bound editions of Jane Austen on display. And for a second there, I stood in the bookstore in Paris and I wondered, like, how many of these can I fit in my suitcase? I actually considered going out, buying one of those tote bags that they sell to tourists and filling it with all of these special editions of Jane Austen and bringing them home. And I decided ultimately not to do it because I already have all of her other books. And in retrospect, it was the right decision because dragging all of these books through the Paris metro system the next day when I needed to leave would have been a nightmare. But let me tell you, I am seriously considering like collecting all of these editions because they are so stunning and I need them. So yeah, that's my little story. Do not walk into a bookstore twice because you will be tempted to make very bad decisions. Great decisions, but that are logistically very bad. Anyway, that is Sanditon. Very excited to read this one and also the other two little stories in here. I think this is going to be so great, and it's been a while since I've read any Jane Austen, so I'm very excited. Now I want to talk about two other books that I got a little bit more recently that are by the same author. The first one is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. This was the last Alice Oseman that I had actually never read, and so I decided to get it, and I had heard quite mixed reviews about this one. This is Alice's debut, so obviously it's not as strong as her other novels, but I quite liked it. And I know that this is a 2020 edition where she went back into it and edited a lot of it, so I assume that most people read the original edition that came out many years ago at this point. So I think that maybe that's the reason why they did not enjoy it as much as I did. This is not my favorite novel of theirs by any stretch of the imagination. My favorite is definitely either Radio Silence or Loveless, which I also did get the UK version of Radio Silence. I do not currently have it with me because my friend has it, but that is also another book that I got this year. So yeah, this wasn't my favorite, but I still really enjoyed it, and I love Tori and Michael with all of my heart. I will protect them until the day I die, and they deserve all of the love and happiness. They are my children, like all of the Oseman verse characters, and I am very, very glad that I finally got to read their story. So yeah, this is the next addition to my bookshelf. Then next up is, like I said, another book by Alice Oseman, and this one is the Heartstopper yearbook. I am so happy that this finally came out in Canada. It was pushed back a couple of weeks, and I just desperately needed my Heartstopper fix. So I am so happy that I finally got to read it. This is a very, very cute book filled with all of those different Heartstopper illustrations that Alice did over the years, and it is narrated by Alice herself, who is like this little character. It's so stinking cute. Like, if you love like little quizzes and just little trivia about all of the characters, it's just absolutely amazing and very, very sweet. There's also like an extra comic in there, like things about the teachers, basically everything that you need if you're a Heartstopper fan. I would highly, highly recommend this. It is extra content, which I will never say no to. It has some like Halloween drawings, some Christmas drawings. It's just absolutely adorable, and I just really, really enjoyed flipping through this, looking at all of the little illustrations. It was a lot of fun. Then the next book that I have here is another one that is very, very exciting, and that is the collector's edition of Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Now, as you may know, this is one of my favorite books of all time, and definitely one of my favorite romance books of all time. So when I saw that they were coming out with a special edition, I knew that I needed to have it. Even though I don't usually buy special editions or just doubles of the books that I already own, I really wanted this one because not only is it like hardcover and absolutely stunning, it also has an extra chapter in it, which I was definitely very excited to read. And I recently reread Red, White, and Royal Blue, and then I got this copy, so I got to read the chapter right after, and let me tell you, it was so great. It was so cute. And one of the many reasons why I really, really love this book is because it has amazing end pages. Look at these. They're stunning. And the illustrations are different at the end too. Hold on, I'm just gonna drop the dust jacket. Okay. Look at them. They're so cute. I love them so much. And also, yeah, the hardcover says history, huh? Bet we could make some, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, definitely very, very excited about this special edition. I do not regret buying it at all. It was so worth it. Another book that I'm going to mention pretty quickly because I've talked about it a couple of times on my channel, but I actually never showed you that I got myself a copy, is Still Life by Sarah Winman. This is a book that we read with the Tea Leaves Book Club earlier this year in March and April, if I'm not mistaken, and it destroyed me in the best way possible. Basically, this is a historical fiction novel that starts during World War II, and we follow these two main characters, Evelyn and, oh my gosh, what's his name? Ulysses. Oh my gosh, as if it was like a super usual name. So you have Ulysses and Evelyn, and they meet in this very weird circumstance in Tuscany during the Second World War. They spend this one night together, and this is not like any sort of innuendo. They just really like are stuck together in a cellar for a night. And then they get separated by circumstances, and we see them as they go through their lives still thinking about this meeting that they had with the other, until one day they are reunited. And this book is so flipping good. Like, if you enjoy beautiful writing, historical fiction, and the found family trope, you need to read this book. Like, you need to. It is just so beautiful. It talks about art and life and friendship, and it is absolutely stunning. It definitely destroyed me, and I think about it so often, and I think about those characters so much, and they just have a very, very special place in my heart. This is definitely one of my favorite books that I've read this year, so I needed to have a copy. The second to last book that I have here is another one that I've already read, and it is Lore Olympus Volume 3 by Rachel Smythe. This, as you may already know, is one of my favorite graphic novel series of all time. It is a retelling of the Hades and Persephone myth from Greek mythology, and it is just absolutely incredible. And Volume 3 was as sweet and as wonderful as all of the others. I highly recommend this series. As always, the story is truly wonderful and the illustrations are so stunning. Let me see if I can find one that I want to show to you all. Trying to find one without any spoilers. There are so many colors and all of the characters are just incredible. If you enjoy Greek mythology and graphic novels, then you definitely should check out this series. The volume 4 is coming out next year, which I'm also very excited about. So yeah, really enjoyed this one and I'm so happy to have it now in my collection. And then the last book in this little haul is yet again one of my favorite books of the year so far, and that book is Furysong by Rosaria Munda. This is the third and final book into the Aurelian cycle, which is a YA fantasy series about dragons, and it is just so incredible. You definitely should read it if that is something that interests you. This one definitely obliterated all of my emotions. It was so good, but it also hurt so bad. And I really enjoyed it. It made me scream, it made me laugh, it made me cry. It was just such a roller coaster, and I am so happy to have this series completed on my shelves now, and I cannot wait to read more books by Rosaria Munda because I know that I'm going to enjoy them. So yeah, definitely check out this series if you haven't already. It is one of my favorite YA fantasy series right now, and I could not recommend it more. Turns out I lied. I also have another little bookish thing that I want to share with all of you. So when I went to Shakespeare & Company in Paris, I really wanted to get one of their tote bags. They have these stunning tote bags with the shop's facade on it, but they actually were out of stock at the time, so I couldn't buy one of them. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next time that I go in Paris so that I can get one. But instead of getting one of the bag, I still wanted a little souvenir, so I got this little print of the shop, and it is so cute. I hope it's focusing, but yeah, it's so adorable. There's like a little dog and people just browsing, and yeah, I just really love this. I'm definitely going to frame it and put it on my shelves. I think it's such a cute little memory, so yeah, I also wanted to share this with all of you. But anyway, that is it for this book haul. These are all of the books that I got recently. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!